Hello, my name is Miriam Ellie, and I will be talking about the coral reef recovery. My presentation will consist of the coral reef crisis, as well as the relationship between coral and algae, the effects of the ocean warming, and how coral is adapting to the environment today. Coral is at an extreme risk as the temperatures of the ocean continue to increase due to global warming. We have currently lost about 80% of the Caribbean Sea coral within the last 3 decades. If the temperature of the Earth continues to increase by 0.9 degrees, then the coral reefs will be diminished by 70 to 90%. And if by 1.8 degrees, then 99% of the coral reef will be in trouble. This is supposed to give you an idea as to how drastic and important this subject is. Coral reef is in danger and something needs to be done. As someone who lives on this earth and is passionate about the climate change, I feel that I am credible to speak on this topic. I've also done some research and read some articles as well. During this presentation, I will be speaking about the coral reef crisis as well as how the coral reef is recovering now. Coral and algae live together and depend on one another to survive. Algae resides within the cells of the coral, right outside of its nucleus, but still within its cell. Algae provides oxygen, aids in removing waste, and provides energy. This energy is then turned into calcium carbonate, which gives coral that rigid structure and its beautiful color. Coral also provides shelter and resources for photosynthesis. Without one another, they would both starve and die. Due to the increase in temperature in the oceans, the algae is stressed and no longer wants to reside within the coral cells. It will either leave or it will die. Without algae, coral becomes bleached, it loses all of its color, and then it'll starve without that energy, and it will die. However, there is still some good news. Coral is adapting. Scientists have recently noticed that the surviving coral after the bleaching incident in 2016 is reshuffling their symbionts. Assistant scientist professor at the University of Southern California, Carly Kinkle, was interested in finding out if this trait of shuffling their symbionts can be passed down to future generations of coral. She went to the Great Barrier Reef and found scientists from the James Cook University as well as the Australian Institute of Marine Science. Together, they studied coral samples from 2015, right before the bleaching incident, and from 2016, right after the bleaching incident. When they compared the 2 egg samples from those 2 years, they found that the shuffling of the algae was passed down to the offspring, which is great news. While all they know about this process is that it is similar to human mitochondrial DNA, it is not within the DNA of the offspring, but right outside of its nucleus. It's still within its cell. Kind of like how algae resides within coral. They have yet to find out how this transfer occurs exactly and what allows for this transfer to happen. In conclusion, while coral is adapting, it is an improvement for the environment. It is still not enough. The ocean temperatures are continuing to increase every day by global warming and climate change. And coral still depends on algae for survival because they are intertwined and they depend on one another for survival. That is it for my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.